Ian, welcome to MSPland. How you doing today?
Cheers, good, how are you?
Good. So before we get into it, we've got a great topic today on PCI compliance. Can you introduce yourself for everyone who might be listening?
Yep, so Iain Edgar, Product Manager at Access4, looking after our UC Page portfolio, our Zima contact center solution, and also our UCXL solution.
Cool, perfect. So really the topic that so many of us are talking about right now is PCI compliance and how to take credit card payments securely over the phone in this day and age. So I think we should just get straight into it. So for anyone who's listening who doesn't really know what PCI compliance mean, what is it and why is it so important?
Yep, so PCI compliance is essentially being compliant when taking credit card details over the phone. So the PCI Council was originally founded by MasterCard and Visa, and they pretty much monitor what businesses are doing when taking credit card payments over the phone. So ensuring that businesses, when taking payments, are doing so in a secure manner, not storing or listening to sensitive credit card information, and then storing that information after the fact as well. So essentially what it is ensuring that businesses are taking payments securely, whether that be over the phone, in person, or via a web link, or a QR code, etc.
Yeah, cool, good stuff. So when we think about taking credit card payments over the phone, right, it's something that so many businesses are doing every single day. And I'm sure so many businesses, as we sort of find out more and more about this topic, that they're doing it in a manner that is high risk and not in compliance with these new standards, as you said. So for MSPs, especially who have customers who are dealing with their own customers every day, taking payments over the phone, why should MSPs be going to their customers and having a conversation about PCI compliance?
I think it's around the education piece. So there's a deadline coming up for PCI DSS compliance 4.0. So the deadline for that is 31st of March 2025. And essentially at that time, businesses need to make sure that they're taking, however they take payments, needs to be done in a PCI compliant fashion. So that's ensuring that, one, the employee isn't listening to the credit card information, so not having a customer read out credit card details. Two, that any sort of call recording technology isn't listening to the information as well. And ensuring that it isn't hitting business systems such as call trace routes and things like that as well. So ensuring that when you're taking payments in any fashion, in this scenario over the phone primarily, that you're not listening to the information and you're not storing the information anyway at all.
Cool. And so for the customer then, what does it mean if you're not in compliance? What are the risks?
Yep, so the risks are, there's a couple of risks. So there's fines that can be pushed down. So the PCI Council, on behalf of the banks, or on behalf of Visa and MasterCard, they will push fines down through the banks to the businesses as well. So essentially what that means is if you're found to not be taking payments in a PCI compliant manner, the banks do have the right to push fines down to that business, and that's done on a monthly basis as well. They can be quite significant depending on the business size, and depending on the level of PCI compliance that organisation needs to be. So there's 4 levels of PCI compliance for any business, and it's all related to the amount of card transactions that you take annually, and that's all payments. So essentially, if you take 20,000 payments in person, but you only take 2 payments over the phone, that all contributes to your level of PCI compliance. So you need to make sure that if you're taking, even if it's 1 payment over the phone a week, for example, a local business, they might have an older lady ring up, used to just calling up, making a payment over the phone, doesn't want to do it in the app. They need to make sure that method of taking a payment is compliant. So the level is 4 different levels. There is an introduction to PCI compliance on the PRC as well, so partners can have a look at that. But essentially level 4 is the lowest level, so more your small businesses, and that's up to 20,000 payments. And then any business taking 2 million transactions or more on a card would be classed as level 1, and that's the highest level of PCI compliance. What these levels mean, so level 3 and 4, means that every but you have to have a QSA, so a PCI compliant assessor.
Yep.
Assess your business, ensure that you are PCI compliant. If you're not, they will provide recommendations on rectifying that, and that's when the fines can kick in. So if you don't rectify the compliance issue, the QSA will inform the banks,
Yep.
or you don't have a certificate of PCI compliance. And
So,
that's
so
when
it's the
fines can kick
banks
in.
that are pushing that assessment down, is it, on the behalf of the PCI
Yeah.
council?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So essentially, so the QSA or the quality assessor will do the assessment. Your bank will then ask you to provide a certificate of PCI compliance. And then if that's not supplied and you continue to take payments over the phone, the fines will start kicking in at that point.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's pretty significant then, and the banks are themselves getting directly involved in it because they're facing a degree of risk as well, right? And are looking to cover themselves essentially.
Yeah, definitely. So it's all. So PCI Council was founded by Visa and Mastercard. Essentially, if you're a bank, you want to be able to continue taking payments via Visa and Mastercard. It's what happens worldwide. If a bank wasn't able to take payments via Visa or Mastercard, that's a lot of the transactions
exactly right.
removed for them. So they want to make sure that businesses are being PCI compliant when taking these card payments.
Cool. So I've sort of had a lot of conversations with a lot of our partners about this recently, especially as MSPs want to position themselves as being a trusted advisor. And if they're already managing their customers' phone systems, even other parts of their technology stack, they want to be able to show to their customers that they're thinking not just about the technology risk that might be in their business, but also other sides of risk, such as the financial risk that they might have with PCI compliance here. So for an MSP, how do you think they should approach this sort of conversation with their customers? Because sometimes it can be very confronting. You say, if you're walking into a customer's office and you say, hey, are you taking credit card payments over the phone? Straight up, right? It's especially an area that an MSP might not be used to speaking with their customer about. So what's the best way to sort of breach this conversation?
I think it's an education piece, to be honest. So I think it's approaching it with customers as an education piece. There is a deadline coming up for PCI Compliance 4.0.
And that creates a lot of urgency, that deadline coming up end of March.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the education piece around what it means for businesses of all sizes. So the businesses up to 20,000 transactions, whilst they don't need a QSA and they can do a self-assessment in this scenario, they still need to show they're PCI compliant to the banks to be able to continue taking those payments. A lot of smaller businesses might be sitting there thinking, it doesn't affect me, so I'm not even going to bother about it. So I think it's more an education piece for partners to be able to go out to customers, explain the deadline, explain what it means if they aren't PCI compliant, and essentially educate them that if you want to continue taking payments over the phone or in any manner, they need to do it in a PCI compliant fashion.
Yep. Can't just be, jotting down the credit card number on a post-it note and leaving it next to a monitor, which I think plenty of businesses have probably done over the years.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you think of a car yard, you call up, you leave a deposit. If they write that credit card information down and then a new customer comes in to look at cars, they're actually walking out of that office, and then another customer comes in, sees a credit card written down on a bit of paper and picks it up, and away they go. So 100%, it shouldn't be written. Businesses shouldn't even hear credit card information.
Yeah, they shouldn't see the numbers in any way, right?
Yep, 100%. So there's some numbers they can see. So the first four numbers and the last four numbers you can see, but those middle 8 numbers shouldn't be seen by anyone, and the security code or the CVV on the back shouldn't be seen by anyone either. So that's all PCI compliance sensitive information.
Yep. Cool. So what is the solution that Access4 is providing now? Because we've had quite a bit of focus on this, and we've rolled out our UC Pay product specifically to help our partners address this issue and to deal with this big deadline that's coming up.
Yep. So Access4 probably September last year launched UC Paid. So UC Paid is a technology that can be added to a phone system. In this case, Broadworks. We are bringing that out to our other platforms as well over time. But essentially what that does is it allows an agent, when they're on the phone to a customer, to secure the phone call, and then that traverses that phone call through the UC Paid cloud. then once the call's traversing through that that cloud technology, they can prompt the customer to enter their credit card information, and what the cloud technology is then doing is removing that credit card information.
Yep. And they're just tapping it in on the dial pad without the agent on the phone seeing it at all.
Yep. So they just say enter your credit card detail on your keypad, enter by the hash key. That will be entered. It's stored for a brief moment, maybe up to 5 seconds in the UC Paid cloud. But as soon as that payment's sent off to the payment gateway, that information's deleted, so it's not stored anywhere. On the agent side of things or the business side of things, they will still hear DTMF tones, but it'll be as ones and zeros.
Yep.
So they don't hear any of your credit card information. They see the progress, so they'll see those first 4 and last 4 digits on the UC
and it's all
interface.
masks as well, right? So they don't see those middle 8 numbers.
Yeah, so the middle 8 numbers is all masked, so they won't see that at all.
But they can see the progress of them typing in the numbers and the steps they're up to.
Yep, 100%. So they see the progress, they're maintaining communication throughout the entire interaction. There's technology within UC Paid that if they enter a credit card number and it's not recognised as a Visa, MasterCard, American Express, etc., it will error, and they'll be able to prompt the end customer to say, re-enter your credit card information.
You put in wrong or something like that. Yeah,
100%. And then at the end, once it's all entered and entered correctly, the agent will submit that payment, and it will come back with a transaction number. I've approved. If it's declined, it will come back and say that as well, and they'll be able to re-secure the call and essentially get the end customer to process the payment.
And that's all routed through the customer's payment gateway, correct? Or is UC Paid itself also becoming a payment gateway?
Yeah, no, so UC Paid integrates directly with payment gateways. So your payment gateway that's provided from CommBank, NAB, Stripe, Tyro, etc. UC Paid will integrate directly with those.
Cool.
So there's a configuration piece at the start where when you're configuring a customer, you'll send them a link to configure their payment gateway, and that's when that happens.
But essentially what UC Paid is doing is sort of ring-fencing that process to insert the credit card numbers. So the call's happening like normal. The agent would press a button to initiate the process within UC Pay where they would go through the process of tapping in their number and all their details. All the agent sees is just the masked information and everything, but it's all ring-fenced by UC Paid, and then it's all pushed off to the payment gateway like normal then, and then it's back to the normal call.
Yeah, 100%. So it ring-fences it. A term that QSAs will use is descoping.
Okay.
So what UC Paid does is descopes the agent, so the individual person listening or on the phone call, and the business system, so any call recording technology or call transcriptions or anything like that, it's descoping that from that technology.
Gotcha.
So then you've got the UC Pay platform, which is level 1 PCI compliant, so it can be provided to any organisation of any PCI level. That's PCI compliant because it interacts directly with the credit card or the payment gateways, and it doesn't store any credit card information, so that's how that remains PCI compliant. And then because none of that information is hitting the call recording or the agent or any business systems, it's descoped those systems from the platform.
Okay. And then if an assessor is say later coming in and looking at this new system with UC Paid in there, it's all going to be ticked off approved because of the systems that are built into the back of UC Paid to keep everything descoped and secured, as you said.
Yeah, 100%. So if needed, if a QSA asks, we can provide a certificate of PCI compliance. So show that the technology is PCI compliant, and then a QSA will tick that off as well. Yeah,
cool. And I know it's one of the things I've heard as a really positive feedback from some of our partners who are already using this is that UC Paid as a product is only charged per user per month, but it doesn't necessarily have to be every single user within a phone system. You can designate a UC Paid license just to say 1, 2, or 3 users who might be the ones identified as having the ability to take payments over the phone, right? Which provides a lot of flexibility and also cost savings.
100%. So think of a medical clinic, you've got your reception staff at the front, you might have some finance team at the back, and they might need a UC Paid license. Obviously, the doctors don't need to take payments over the phone, so you don't need to license those doctors either. So you'd only license the users that need to take payments over the phone. It's a set fee per month. It's unlimited transactions, which is very different to providers that allow you to send links out to customers where they charge a transaction fee per link sent. So An example of that would be each link that you send out, you charge 60 cents.
Yep.
And then there's a transaction fee on top of that as well.
Cool. No, that sounds really good. And again, I think the key message I sort of keep bringing up whenever I'm speaking with some of our partners is that March 31st is coming up, and you need to be thinking about this. You need to be having discussions with your customers, at least raising awareness on the topics for those businesses who are facing a higher degree of risk, can effectively get themselves covered. So look, that was really good. Appreciate the time you spent today running through these issues. For anyone out there who might want to get in touch with you to talk a bit more about this, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So just via your PGM or account manager. I'm happy to jump in and do a sort of PCI compliant health assessment on the phone system as well. So just asking a few prompting questions. How are you taking payments? How are you taking them, etc. Nice and easy, but happy to jump on a call with any of our partners and potentially their end customers as well, if needed. We've also got the introduction to PCI compliance on the PRC, which pretty much runs through what we spoke about today at a more detailed level. So I'd definitely recommend that everyone has a read through that as well.
Cool, good stuff. All right, well, thanks for coming on the show again, and we'll see you around.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.